everybody, welcome to the channel for new 9th Age battle report. This is another practice game that I played before the tournament Interregio with my actual tournament list. I played I think only 2 training games, so this is the second and the last one on Warhall before Interregio, and I'm going to also show you another one which is live on the table. So let's see, you know already my list, or you should, because of the video that I released earlier. And this was my opponent's list. He's playing basically 2 characters on the chariot. The one general with a 2-up, 5-up extra hit when I do a 1-2 hit. Then he has Master Druidism. He has 2 bindings, Seed of the Dark Forest, 1-up rerollable on the BSB, 2 ambushing, Wild Horn with throwing weapon and discipline. Yeah, Mage Bunker, 4 units of chaff, and then he has 30 Longhorn with Great Weapon, Musician Champion, 13 Centers, and 2 Gotaks. So basically, a couple of ambushing units, 2 strong units, Great Weapon, 2 Gotaks, and 2 single model as character, which is an interesting combination, but I'm not so afraid of the block of Longhorn, because it's not the same without character. They are not bodyguard, meaning the Merc Vets can hurt them really badly. We played second target on marching column, and below you have the spell selection, in case you want to know. Matchup analysis, so he could potentially rush me, chaff me with all his vanguarding chaff, and then push hard and make sure that some of my units are not in combat. He has no range damage, almost no range damage, so if I can start, I would be happy to apply some pressure with the Merc Vets on the Gotak. My game plan, as always in this type of matchup, reduce some of the threat with my shooting, and then try to overwhelm, find some nice angle with my giant. And this time, spoiler alert, I didn't forget about my 5-up regen. He has a high amount of chaff, so I know for a fact that it's going to be pretty central with both his chariot, and I could use, for example, my strength 7 giant or my great can in the center to counter that. I need to put some space between the Merc Vets and the Death Star to avoid him double chaffing me with one single unit. Like I said before, the Merc Vets could beat the Longhorn if I charge him, so definitely something to keep in mind. And my matchup estimation was a small win. Deployment, I forgot to do a 2D, but I remember to do a 3D, which is looking good on this map. So what we did on marching column, he won the roll for side, took this side and placed his second target to avoid me putting one in front of the impassable. And I put mine here in the middle. I debated between putting it on the left or middle, and I thought let's try something a bit more aggressive to try to go for the win of the secondary, because what I had in mind, for me there is 2 approaches. The first approach is the one more risky, the one I did here, is to put them as close as possible and deploy my strong unit in the middle. And second approach would have been to put this one on the left and deploy my strong unit or more on the right to minimize with his impassable and push toward here and go for a draw of the secondary and try to delay the engagement, so to say. But I went for the more open approach, and I think it's important to try some things like that in training, because if I don't do that in training, I'm never going to do it and never going to know whether or not it's a better or a worse approach than the other one I mentioned before. But we'll talk about that again at the end. So I play Strength 7 Giant, Tribesman, Strength 5 Cauldron Giant. He plays Centers, Dogs, and then I drop for first turn, putting Scraplings, the block of Tribesman with the Mage and the Great Can, Frost Mammoth, Saber-Tooth Tiger, Merc Vets with the BSB, Bruises, and a second Giant on the far right. And his counter deployment, he plays his key strengths in the middle with 2 Gotak, both characters, Mage Bunker, another unit of Dog, and here on the far right he put his unit of Longhorn, which surprised me a bit. I expected here to see, for example, a Gotak or something to block my single model. I think here it could be really hard for him to stop me going to his flank, or if you want to do that, he might be very static here in the back, which would be I would be really happy with. My turn 1, moving back to 2D. So, no charges. What I did is push this giant forward to create a situation where if he charged me, because of the impassable, he would have only one guy in contact because it's a front. And I place the Strength 7 Giant as a counter chargers. I move this unit all the way here to be within 12 of my Great Can, at least. Not within BSB, but at least that. I push hard with my scrappling. I think the right move would have been to push a bit less and looks in front of them to make sure I can kill the chaff with another unit than the Death Star himself. So I think here this was a mistake. Push the Death Star on the hill, which makes sense. But here, like I said, I could have angled them better. Position my Frosty to basically zone unit coming in the back of my Merc Vets, shooting at them. Placing my Tiger here, placing the Merc Vets within everybody within 12 of them, so short range. Here I didn't forget to put a dart to counter the front of the Merc Vets to charge if something comes to chaff here. And here I push my Giant hard towards the flank, looking still at the middle. Magic Face, a Binding Scroll Totemic Summon. I got a Hereditary off on this Giant in case he charged me. Dispel Swarm of Insect on the Gortak. And I got Break the Spirit off on the Centaurs in case he wants to charge me. Shooting, I kill only 3 dogs, he passes the check. His turn 1, he push hard forward. Chaff me with Gargoyle, chaff me with dogs. I didn't really understand this chaff because there was nothing really scary. Maybe he wanted to, I guess he wanted to avoid me pushing forward to shoot at the Gortak, maybe? I don't know. But he still chaffed me. But the Giant is looking at him, so I'm feeling okay. Push the Gortak, he just reformed. He was a bit annoyed between the two units, it's hard to move. So he just reformed them to chaff my Giant, making sure I cannot charge the Centaurs. Move the Centaurs back, reform them, push the Chariot forward, and just rearrange the Longhorn to make sure I cannot escape line of sight. In Magic Phase, also, forgot to mention, he decided to roll 1 ambush, but not the second one. Enter right here to threaten my bruisers. Magic Face, he got thrown, he got boosted charge with 3 dice against 2 on them, and something else that I wanted to dispel that I got off. I think the -2 shooting on them, maybe. No close combat, my turn 2. So here, the first thing I wanted to do was reform the Scrappling, double chaff the Gortak, move back, and wait a bit more. Even maybe, I can maybe even get rid of that if I avoid any overrun of the Gortak, but I don't think it's possible. So just move back and wait a bit more. But then I decided to do something a bit crazy, which is to charge out with the Great Khan against the Gortak. I opted against going against this one for 2 reasons. The first one is, if he sticks, he can countercharge me with the block and make me flee with static res, which is an issue. And second reason was I was able to put my Merc Vets in a position to shoot at the second Gortak. So I charge here, move back with the bus, turn those guys around to try to get rid of chaff and so on. Charge with the Giant against his chaff. He didn't pass the Discipline 5, flee all the way here and lost 2 guys to DT. Here I charged with Giant against the dogs. He fled off the board, created a panic on them, but they pass on 9 reliable. And then I repositioned those 2 guys to countercharge in case the Centaurs want to charge him. I think that's it. Yeah, here I reposition my Frosty and turn around those guys to basically, if he charge me, I can countercharge with the Frost. Should be fine. Magic Face. I got a Binding Scroll +1 strength, which makes sense because of the Gortak fight. It dispels Swarm of Insect. I fail Hereditary, so I got nothing basically. Shooting, I did 1 wound to the Gortak with the 16 poison shot, which is not great. And then close combat, he did 2 wounds to me. I did 4 wounds to him. He's still here. He passes the steadfast. No problem. His turn 2, he double charged, so he had Blackwing. He needed a 10 total, so he rolled D3 +1, 3 total. He needed a 7 Swift Ride, and he got that. So he charged them. He didn't need much with the Gortak, I think like a 5. He got that as well. So boom, boom, double charge into my boss, which is a problem for me. Charge with the Centaurs on a 8 or 7 against the Giant. Got that off. Got the ambush off in front of the Giant. We'll see if he can pass terror. Charge me here. Move a bit back to avoid me pushing too much, or I don't know exactly. Maybe to be out of shooting, or I don't know what was. I think I forgot. No, did I? Yeah, I cast, it's not visible on the picture, but I cast Break the Spirit on them, making sure they cannot charge me on a 9 in the flank, which would be a big problem for me, or they cannot march because of Break the Spirit. So I cast Break the Spirit on the Longhorn. That's why he didn't move much. Magic Phase, so at least the good news for me is he has 1, 2, 3, 4 quite important combat to buff, so he cannot buff everything. First of all, I use Binding Scroll on Stone Skin. I cannot, I need to avoid my Great Khan wounding on 6-up. So I cast that. He got -2 to hit on the Murkvets, didn't care too much. I dispel regen and he got +1 attack on the Gortak, which is okay. What happened close combat? A giant fight. I think I did 4 wounds and he did 5 to me and I passed on a 7. Not steadfast but 7. Great Khan, he did another 2 wounds to me. I was alive on 1 wound. He had 3 wounds left. I wound only 1 time, but I rolled a 3 on the D3. So I roll max 3 wounds. And I kill outright the Gortak, making them fail the panic check and fleeing this direction. This is great because I'm looking now at the flank of the bunker. He had no way to really avoid me getting that charge. Because with 1 wound remaining, I cannot risk to charge against this combat. So yeah, and this combat, he broke me. He killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full tribesmen. And basically make me break. I roll more than 5, which means because of the gargoyle position, I fled off the board. So I lost the boss, but with no character within the unit, which is at least that. And on the far right, I think he fluffed. He didn't pass primal. He has like 10 attack on a 3 and on a 5. He did like 1 wound. And I had like 9 attack on a 4 and on a 2. And plus 2 stomps. And I think I did like 2, 3. And it was a draw at the end. So we both still here. My turn 3. So a couple of charges. Here, Tribesmen go here. Giant go here. He passes the third check on 7 rollable. I go here with the Frosty. So nice. And the Great Khan goes here. So basically when I'm seeing that, I'm thinking this is fleeing. It's rallying on a 5. So most likely it's out. This is going to steadfast on a 5 normally, and the mage should be dead. So that should be dead as well. Meaning at the end of the turn, and that should be dead as well. So at the end of the turn, everything goes as planned. He has a Gortak left, has the unit of Gargoyle, the 2 characters and the long gun, and that's it. Which would put me in a strong position. So we'll see. I move out with my character to shoot at the Gortak. Moves those guys. Yeah, I get magic at the Gortak. Couldn't shoot because I march out. Those guys move to the side to shoot at his character, basically. What happened in the magic? I got Swarm of Insect, 2 dicing on the Gortak, and I roll a 2 and a 2, so I fail. A 2 and a 1, I guess. Should have kept those dice for later, because then I cast Totemic Summon and dispel that. Should have started Totemic Summon, put it like here, threatening the bunker. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe, I think I wanted to get it here to deal with the Gargoyle. Think so? Don't know. But anyway, he dispelled Totemic Summon, I failed Swarm of Insect, I failed Break the Spirit, and I got +1 toughness on the bruises. Not great. Shooting, I did 1 wound to his lord, he passes a couple of armor save on both. Throwing weapon, I had 20 shot on 5 up, 6 up on the Gortak, did no wounds. And then here, close combat. What happened was unexpected for me because I challenge. He refuses his mismatching base. So he refuses with the mage, and we didn't know that. If you know the answer, please tell me. I don't know if the guy in the middle here, the second rank, can hit or not. But what we did is resolve this guy because he can hit. So this guy's hit, first he has to pass primal on a 5 or 6, I don't know. Passes primal, hit me on 4, wound me on 6. I have 4 rollable, fail, Great Khan dead against a mongrel. You kidding me? But to be honest, I wasn't too salty about that. Why is that? Because I was lucky to get rid of the Gortak and not dying in the process. So I think it's kind of a fair trade that he's able to get down the Great Khan. So yeah, not too disappointed about that. Kill all those guys, reform with these 2 units, kill all those guys, overrun with the Tribesmen, but didn't get those guys, didn't hit them. And here I made them flee, I pursue but didn't catch them, basically. His turn 3, he rally on a 5, annoying. He put the Gargoyle, passes the march check. They move here in front of my Murkvets. Put the Beast Lord looking at me, but I'm not too scared by the Beast Lord alone. Put the BSB here looking at my Scrapling. The Gortak is looking upwards to avoid my Giant pushing towards his bunker. Those guys, again, avoid me pushing here and going around on the top. So, makes sense. But they didn't, at the same time, they didn't really push me. Magic Face, what did he got? He got thrown off and then -2 to shoot on the Murkvets, which is not so annoying because I plan to charge the chaff get rid of them, and I'm not too scared about the Beast Lord coming alone against the Mergvets, to be honest. So no close combat, my turn. My turn 4. Charge the Chaff. Position those guys again to shoot and Swarm of Insect at the Gortak. This time I go 10 wide to get 40 shots on the 5 up, 6 up. Position the Strength 7 Giant. In case the BSB charge me, I can counter charge with Strength 7. Position the Cold Run guy that got his breast weapon back because he did more than 4 wounds with his 10 attack, which is nice. So reposition here to look at the Gortak and make sure that if he turns around or something else, I can push breast weapon on him. Charge the Chaff. And reposition all these guys to tell the Longhorn you cannot go for the objective. I was also starting to think about the objective because he has only like 2 scoring on the boards, and I don't see a way for any of them to go near these 2 objectives. Maybe 1, but not sure at all. And for the other one, I'm feeling pretty safe, so it should be hard for him to push with a mage, bunker mage here. I think it's kind of hard to do because I have so many units threatening him and looking at other direction. It's as you can see, it's the typical U shape that when you are in this type of shape against an opponent, it's extremely hard for him to deal with me because looking that way, looking upwards, looking here, is looking in all type of direction where what should I do? And if he does something wrong, I can just push with single model around and then get rid of something. So kind of hard. Magic Face, I get +1 strength on the Mergvets. Basically, if he charge me with the Beast Lord, good luck. Scrappling did 2 wounds to the Gortak, so he has 3 left. I get rid of that, get rid of the Chaff. And then we stop here because it was kind of getting late, but we discussed about how it should end up. We agreed that there is no way he can get secondary objective. I'm going to get it. Then the question is more about, does he really want to take risk Beast Lord going against the Mergvets? On strength 6, never. So he need to probably move back all of them together, try to defend this secondary objective. But yeah, not so easy for him to protect the bunker, to protect secondary when I have 2 turns left with so many units. And there is no way the Longhorn are going to be able to really push forward against all these units. And they are also threatened because at the moment the BSB is here. It has only the general leadership, so if I charge, it's a terror check on an 8 or 9, no reroll. It can get really, really risky that he'll lose those points as well. So we stop here. Ended up being approximately 15, maybe 16 if I kill the second Gortak in the remaining turn. I lost General, Tribesman, the Big Boss Tribesman, and the Lone Dog. Post-game analysis. So starting was interesting, but the Gortak managed to avoid the Mergvets. Deployment, definitely my approach was way too risky to go in the center. I lacked patience. I start discharge with the Great Khan. Going against the Gortak was way too risky, and I got punished for that. I was a bit overwhelmed early on with the Beast Herd threats. He was able to charge a lot in some unit to focus his combat power in some spot, and this cost me the big boss. Regen Giant showing me why it can be good. Managed to pass some regen. Obviously I was lucky to pass Steadfast on a 7 or 8, so that was lucky for me, but still a good performance from the Giant. Longhorn forced to cover, avoid terror, should have been more in the center. I think the positioning of the Longhorn in the deployment is a problem, because there were always going to be like debating between should I push forward, but then I can push his flank with the Giant, which is a problem, and the Mergvets can beat him. So I think he should have been more to the center left and then put something else on the right. And I think also another point for the Beast Herd, his chaff on the left, the 2 units of dogs, I think there was a bit of a traffic jam, and he should have maybe placed them more in the center to have more freedom to chaff me multiple times. What I should have done in deployment, so don't get me wrong, I just want to, because we could say, yeah, he won that, so it was the right approach. I don't think so, because for me, I had too many risks in this game, and if I'm thinking at a team tournament with risk management and bringing a safe win to my team, I think this should be a better way to get a solid 12 with almost no variance and see what he does. So what I should have done, I think instead, is Frosty, Death Star, Mergvets, scoring unit, so all my strong flank here in front of the Impossible to make really hard for him to face me. So almost sure that he needs to deploy more to the left, and then on the left I put 3 single model plus a scoring unit, and basically telling him you cannot put alone the Longhorn because it's not enough and he could get terror check and so on. The centers alone is not enough. So what do you deploy? Gortak plus centers? Yeah, it might be enough. It's not sure at all. So I think I can cause him a lot of problem with this combination here. And in case he deploys everything to the left, I can just do 14, 14, 14. I go away with all the giant and just give him the scrappling, and that's it. So yeah, I felt here, with this deployment I would have felt much more secure, but I think it was worth a try to try what I did try to see how it goes. But yeah, I felt he was too close to me basically, and he was able to engage too soon by using the hill to avoid me shooting too much at the Merc at his Gortak, which is an issue. So guys, that's it for this battle report. I hope you liked it. It was an interesting game. Thanks to my opponent for the game, and talk to you soon on the channel. Bye bye.